The morning sun peeked through the blinds as Jennifer Chen checked her phone for the 10th time that hour. Still no new RSVPs for her daughter's birthday party. With a sigh, she set her phone down and continued hanging the colorful streamers across the living room ceiling. As the CEO of Blue Stream Tech, Jennifer was used to solving complicated problems and managing crises. But this particular challenge left her feeling helpless. "Mom, are the decorations almost done?" called out a gentle voice from down the hallway. Jennifer quickly put on a bright smile before turning around. "Almost there, Lily. I'm just finishing up with these streamers. How does it look so far?" Lily rolled her wheelchair into the living room, her eyes taking in the balloons, banners, and glittering decorations that transformed their usually sleek and modern living room into a festive wonderland. Her twin sister Grace followed close behind, maneuvering her own wheelchair with practiced ease. "It looks amazing," Grace said, her face lighting up, like something from a fairy tale. Jennifer felt a warmth spread through her chest at her daughter's reaction. The twins were turning 13 today, their first birthday since the accident that had changed their lives forever. 10 months ago, a delivery truck had run a red light and smashed into their family car. Jennifer had walked away with minor injuries, but her daughters had both suffered spinal cord injuries that left them paralyzed from the waist down. "Only the best for my birthday girls," Jennifer said, stepping down from the stepladder to give each of her daughters a kiss on the forehead. "The cake should be delivered in about an hour, and I've got all your favorite snacks ready to go." What Jennifer didn't mention was that out of the 25 invitations they had sent out to classmates and neighborhood kids, only 3 families had responded, all with regrets that they couldn't attend. She had hoped that the girls' 13th birthday would be a chance for them to reconnect with friends they'd lost touch with during their long hospital stay and subsequent rehabilitation. "Has anyone said they're coming?" Lily asked, her voice small but direct. Always the more straightforward of the twins, Lily rarely shied away from asking difficult questions. Jennifer hesitated, then knelt down to be at eye level with her daughters. "Not yet, sweetheart, but it's still early and you know how people are. They might just show up without RSVPing. Grace reached out and squeezed her sister's hand. "It doesn't matter who comes, Lil. We've got each other and Mom and cake. That's all we really need." Jennifer felt her throat tighten. Her daughters had been through so much, had lost so much, yet they still found ways to be brave and positive. Sometimes she thought they were handling the dramatic change in their lives better than she was. "You're absolutely right, Grace," she said, forcing cheer into her voice. "But let's finish getting everything ready just in case. You never know who might stop by." The twins nodded and offered to help. Jennifer gave them tasks, arranging the gift bags, setting out plates and cups, anything to keep their minds occupied. As they worked, Jennifer's phone buzzed with a message from her assistant at work about an urgent client issue. Normally, she would have jumped to resolve it immediately, but today she simply sent back a brief reply. "Handle it. Family day." Before the accident, Jennifer had been the type of CEO who was always available, always working. The twins had grown used to having a mom who was physically present but mentally elsewhere, her attention divided between them and the demands of running a successful tech company. The accident had changed that too. Nothing clarified priorities quite like nearly losing what mattered most. "Mom, can you help me reach the punch bowl?" Grace called from the kitchen. Jennifer put her phone away and went to help, pushing away thoughts of work and unanswered invitations. Today was about celebrating her amazing daughters, whether they had a house full of guests or just the 3 of them. The doorbell rang, startling all 3 of them. "That must be the cake," Lily said, her eyes brightening. Jennifer opened the door to find a delivery person holding a large white box. "Special delivery for the birthday girls," he said with a friendly smile. Jennifer thanked him and brought the cake to the kitchen table, where the twins waited excitedly. She carefully opened the box to reveal a beautiful cake, decorated with musical notes, a nod to the twins' love of music, and the words, "Happy 13th birthday, Lily and Grace," written in elegant purple icing. "It's perfect," Grace whispered, her eyes shining. "Wait till you taste it," Jennifer said. "It's chocolate with raspberry filling, just how you like it." As Jennifer set the cake in the center of the dining table, which was already decorated with a shimmery tablecloth and party plates, she glanced at her watch. The party was scheduled to start in less than an hour. She still held out hope that some of the girls' friends might show up, even without RSVPing. but a knot of worry tightened in her stomach. After the accident, many of the twins' friends had visited them in the hospital, bringing cards, stuffed animals, and promises to stay in touch. But as the weeks turned into months, those visits had become less frequent. Jennifer understood. Children had their own busy lives, and it was difficult for them to know how to relate to friends whose lives had changed so dramatically. Still, she had hoped that a birthday party would be the perfect opportunity to rebuild those connections. "Should we change into our party dresses now?" Lily asked, interrupting Jennifer's thoughts. "Great idea," Jennifer replied. "Need any help?" Both girls shook their heads. In the months since coming home from the hospital, they had worked hard to become as independent as possible, adapting to their new reality with determination that often left Jennifer in awe. "We can manage," Grace said, "but can you make sure our hair looks okay after we're dressed?" "Of course," Jennifer promised. "You're going to look beautiful." As the twins wheeled themselves toward their bedroom, Jennifer took a moment to look around at the festive space she had created. The decorations were perfect, the food was ready, the cake was beautiful. Everything was in place for a wonderful celebration. If only there were going to be guests to appreciate it. With a sigh, Jennifer pulled out her phone again and scrolled through her contacts. Maybe she could call some parents, make some last-minute invitations. But she quickly dismissed the idea. That would only make things more awkward and might leave her daughters feeling even more like charity cases. Instead, she opened her photo gallery and found a picture of the twins from last year's birthday. Before the accident, they were standing side by side, arms around each other's shoulders, broad smiles on their faces as they posed with friends from their dance class. Jennifer felt tears prick at her eyes. The girls had loved dancing. They had been taking classes since they were 4 years old, and both had shown real talent. Now that part of their lives was over. But new doors had opened too, Jennifer reminded herself firmly. Both girls had discovered new interests during their rehabilitation. Lily had started painting and showed remarkable ability. Grace had begun learning computer programming and could spend hours happily coding. They were resilient, adaptable, and stronger than Jennifer had ever imagined they could be. The sound of wheels on hardwood pulled Jennifer from her thoughts. The twins returned, both wearing pretty dresses they had picked out specially for the occasion. Lily wore a deep blue dress that brought out the color of her eyes, while Grace had chosen a soft green one that complemented her slightly lighter hair. "You both look absolutely beautiful," Jennifer said, meaning every word. "Will you do our hair now?" Grace asked, holding out a brush and some hair clips. Jennifer spent the next 20 minutes carefully styling each girl's hair, adding sparkly clips, and a touch of the strawberry-scented spray they loved. As her fingers worked through their familiar dark locks, she felt a profound wave of love and gratitude. Despite everything that had happened, she still had her precious daughters. They were still here, still growing, still finding joy in the world. "There," she said, putting the final clip in Lily's hair. "You both look perfect." "Thanks, Mom," Lily said, examining her reflection in the hand mirror Jennifer offered. "You're really good at this." "Years of practice," Jennifer replied with a smile. "And you two have always had beautiful hair." The twins wheeled themselves back to the main room, chatting excitedly about the presents they might receive and the cake they would soon eat. Jennifer followed, checking her watch again. The party was supposed to start in 10 minutes and still no sign of any guests arriving. "Should we wait a bit before cutting the cake?" Grace asked, voicing the question that was on all their minds. Jennifer nodded, trying to keep her expression neutral. "Let's give it a little time. Sometimes people run late." But as the minutes ticked by, the festive atmosphere began to deflate like one of the balloons that had come loose from its string and was now hovering near the ceiling. The twins tried to maintain their excitement, examining the decorations and speculating about what might be in the wrapped gifts Jennifer had placed on the side table. But Jennifer could see the disappointment beginning to creep into their eyes, despite their brave attempts to hide it. "Maybe we should just start the party," Lily finally suggested, her voice too cheerful, too forced. "It can be just us." "That's okay, right?" Jennifer felt her heart breaking, but she plastered on a smile. "Of course it's a..." Jennifer swung open the door, hoping to find a family from the girls' class or perhaps some of their old dance friends. Instead, she found a courier holding a small package. "Delivery for Jennifer Chen," the young man said, holding out an electronic signature pad. "Oh," Jennifer said, unable to hide her disappointment. "Yes, that's me." She quickly signed for the package, thanked the courier, and closed the door. When she turned around, she saw the twins watching her with hopeful expressions that quickly fell when they realized it wasn't a party guest. "Just a work package," Jennifer explained, setting the small box on a side table. "Probably those contract papers I've been waiting for." "Oh," Lily said quietly. The three of them stood in awkward silence for a moment, the festive decorations around them seeming to mock their situation. Jennifer glanced at her watch again. The party had officially started 15 minutes ago and no one had arrived. "Well," Jennifer said, clapping her hands together with forced enthusiasm, "why don't we start with some music? What would you like to hear?" Grace, always quick to pick up on her mother's efforts, smiled and suggested their favorite playlist. Soon, upbeat music filled the room, but it only seemed to emphasize the empty spaces where party guests should have been dancing and laughing. Jennifer brought out trays of finger foods, mini sandwiches cut into star shapes, vegetable sticks with dip, fruit skewers, and the twins' favorite cheese puffs. She arranged everything on the dining table next to the beautiful cake. "This looks amazing, Mom," Lily said, wheeling up to the table and taking a cheese puff. "You really went all out." "Only the best for my girls," Jennifer replied, her throat tight. She busied herself with adjusting the food displays, not wanting the twins to see the tears threatening to form in her eyes. Grace wheeled up beside her sister and examined the spread. "Remember last year when Tommy accidentally knocked over the punch bowl and it splashed all over Mrs. Reynolds?" The memory broke through the tension and all three of them burst into laughter. Her white pants turned completely purple, Lily added between giggles. "And she was such a good sport about it," Jennifer recalled, grateful for the moment of lightness. She said it was the most excitement she'd had in years. They continued sharing memories of previous birthdays as they nibbled on the party food, making a conscious effort to focus on the happy times rather than the current disappointment. Jennifer told stories about the twins' earlier birthdays, the time they both wanted different themes and she'd had to create a half-princess, half-dinosaur party. The year they'd had an outdoor scavenger hunt and it had started pouring rain halfway through. For a while it worked. The reminiscing brought genuine smiles to all their faces, and Jennifer started to think that maybe this wouldn't be such a terrible birthday after all. Different, yes, but still special in its own way. But then the doorbell rang again. This time none of them reacted with excitement. Once bitten, twice shy, Jennifer went to the door expecting another delivery or perhaps a neighbor dropping by for an unrelated reason. She opened the door to find a flower delivery person, holding a large bouquet. "Delivery. For Lily and Grace Chen," the woman announced with a friendly smile. Jennifer thanked her, took the flowers, and read the card attached to them. "Happy 13th birthday to two amazing girls. Wish we could be there to celebrate with you. Love, Aunt Paula and Uncle Rick." Jennifer brought the beautiful arrangement of lilies, roses, and daisies to the twins, who admired them with genuine appreciation. "That was nice of them," Grace said, touching a soft pink rose petal. "Yeah," Lily agreed. "The flowers are really pretty." Jennifer placed the bouquet at the center of the coffee table. "They really wanted to come, but you know they live on the other side of the country. They sent their love, though." The twins nodded understanding, but Jennifer could sense their disappointment deepening. Relatives sending gifts wasn't the same as friends showing up to celebrate. An hour into the party that wasn't really a party, Jennifer suggested they move on to opening presents. The twins agreed, and she brought over the pile of wrapped gifts she had carefully selected for them. Lily and Grace took turns opening their presents, exclaiming over each one with genuine happiness. New art supplies for Lily, a coding kit for Grace, matching silver necklaces with their birthstone for both, books they'd been wanting, and a few other items Jennifer had chosen, knowing they would appeal to their current interests. "These are amazing, Mom," Grace said, examining her new coding kit with excitement. "How did you know exactly which one I wanted?" "I pay attention," Jennifer said with a wink. "And I might have checked your browser history." "Mom!" both girls exclaimed in mock outrage, and they all laughed again. "There's one more special gift," Jennifer said, bringing out a medium-sized box wrapped in shimmering paper. "This one is for both of you to share." The twins looked at each other, then carefully unwrapped the package together. Inside was a state-of-the-art tablet with a professional drawing program installed, along with a special stylus. "It's for both your interests," Jennifer explained. Lily can use it for digital art, and Grace can use it for coding. I thought it might be something you could work on together sometimes. The girls were genuinely thrilled with the gift, immediately turning it on and exploring its features. Jennifer watched them with a mix of happiness and sadness. The presents were a success, but they couldn't quite fill the void left by absent friends. After the gift opening, there was another awkward pause. At a normal birthday party, this would be the time for games or activities with friends. Jennifer had planned several accessible games that the twins could easily participate in from their wheelchairs, but most required more than 3 people to be fun. Should we play a board game? Grace suggested, sensing the lull. Or watch a movie, Lily added. Before Jennifer could respond, her phone rang. She checked the caller ID. It was her chief operating officer, probably calling about the crisis her assistant had mentioned earlier. I need to take this, she apologized to the twins. It will just take a minute. She stepped into the kitchen and answered the call, keeping her voice low. This better be important, Paul. I'm in the middle of the girl's birthday. I wouldn't call if it wasn't crucial, Paul replied. The Reynolds account is in jeopardy. They're threatening to pull out entirely unless we fix the security issue immediately. Jennifer closed her eyes and took a deep breath. The Reynolds account represented nearly 20% of their company's revenue. Losing it would be catastrophic, potentially leading to layoffs and a significant hit to the business she'd built from the ground up. What exactly happened? She asked, glancing through the doorway to check on the twins, who were still examining their new tablet. As Paul explained the situation, Jennifer felt torn between her responsibilities as a CEO and her duties as a mother. Before the accident, she might have made a different choice. But now, listen, Paul, she interrupted. I trust you to handle this. Call in the tech team, authorize whatever overtime is needed, and do what you have to do to fix the security breach. I'm not leaving my daughters today. There was a brief silence on the other end of the line. Are you sure? This is a major account. I'm sure, Jennifer said firmly. My family comes first. You're more than capable of handling this. Keep me updated by text, but only call again if the building is literally on fire. She ended the call and took a moment to collect herself before returning to the living room. The twins looked up as she entered. Everything okay, Mom? Grace asked with concern that seemed too mature for a 13-year-old. Everything's fine, Jennifer assured them. Just a little work emergency, but it's being handled. You can go deal with it if you need to, Lily said. We understand. Jennifer felt a rush of love for her thoughtful daughters. Absolutely not. Today is all about you two. Work can wait. She clapped her hands together. Now who's ready for cake? The mention of cake brightened the mood instantly. Jennifer went to the kitchen to get matches for the candles, and when she returned, she found the twins had wheeled themselves into position on either side of the dining table, facing the cake. The sight stopped her in her tracks. 2 beautiful young girls in pretty dresses, their hair done up with sparkly clips, sitting alone at a birthday table meant for a crowd of friends. The image was so poignant it made her heart ache. For a moment, Jennifer considered postponing the cake, making up some excuse to wait a little longer in case someone showed up. But looking at her daughters' faces, she knew it was time to accept reality. No one was coming. It was just the 3 of them. She lit the 13 candles on the cake, plus 1 for good luck, and turned off the main light so the candles cast a warm glow over the girls' faces. Make a wish, she whispered as she finished lighting the last candle. The twins looked at each other, then closed their eyes for a moment before leaning forward together to blow out the candles. Their synchronized movement was a reminder of the special bond they shared, a bond that had only grown stronger through the challenges of the past year. All the candles went out at once, and Jennifer turned the lights back on, blinking away tears. What did you wish for? She asked, knowing they wouldn't tell her. It was a birthday tradition in their family. Wishes were private, shared only between the twins. Jennifer picked you. Jennifer opened the door to find a man and a young girl standing on her doorstep. The man appeared to be in his early 40s with kind eyes and slightly disheveled hair that suggested he hadn't had time to style it properly. The girl beside him looked about the twins' age, with curly hair pulled back in a ponytail and a slightly nervous expression on her face. She was clutching what appeared to be a hastily wrapped present, the tape visible and the corners slightly crumpled. Hi, the man said, looking slightly uncertain. I'm David Wilson from 3 streets over, and this is my daughter Penny. He gestured to the girl, who gave a shy wave. We, saw the decorations when we drove by earlier, and Penny mentioned that your daughters were in her class at school. Jennifer blinked in surprise, trying to place them. She vaguely recognized the man. She might have seen him at a school function once or twice, but she couldn't recall ever meeting his daughter. We noticed cars weren't lined up outside like you'd expect for a party, David continued, and Penny was worried that meant not many people came. She thought maybe we could stop by, if that's okay. Before Jennifer could respond, Penny stepped forward, holding out the wrapped gift. I didn't know what they'd like, she said softly. But everyone likes art stuff, right? I'm sorry we didn't RSVP. Dad only just told me about seeing the decorations when he picked me up from my mom's house. Jennifer felt a rush of emotion, gratitude, surprise, and a touch of embarrassment that this stranger had noticed the absence of guests. That's so thoughtful of you, she managed to say. Please come in. We were just having cake. Cake? David said, his face brightening. Perfect timing, then. He smiled at Jennifer, and she noticed he had a small dimple in his left cheek. If you're sure we're not intruding? Not at all, Jennifer assured him, stepping back to let them enter. In fact, you're just what this party needed. As they walked into the living room, Jennifer called out, Girls, we have guests. Lily and Grace looked up from their cake, identical expressions of surprise on their faces. For a moment, no one spoke, the newcomers and the twins just staring at each other in awkward silence. Penny broke the ice first. Hi, she said, giving a small wave. I'm Penny. I sit 2 rows behind you guys in Ms. Patterson's class. You probably don't really know me because I only started at the school in January. The twins exchanged a quick glance, then Grace smiled. I remember you, she said. You did that really cool presentation about marine biology. Penny's face lit up. You remembered that? Yeah, that was me. I'm kind of obsessed with oceans. It was interesting, Lily added, especially the part about how octopuses can change color. Jennifer watched this exchange with relief and growing hope. She turned to David and whispered, Thank you for coming. You have no idea what this means. David shrugged, keeping his voice equally low. It seemed like the right thing to do. Penny and I know what it's like when people don't show up. Something in his tone suggested a personal understanding of disappointment. Well, we're really glad you're here, Jennifer said. Can I get you some cake? There's plenty. Cake would be great, David replied with a warm smile. I've got a terrible sweet tooth. Jennifer led him to the dining table while Penny approached the twins, still holding her gift. This is for both of you, she said, holding it out. Happy birthday. The twins thanked her, and Lily carefully unwrapped the present to reveal a set of high-quality colored pencils and a sketchbook. I didn't know what you'd like, Penny explained, shifting from foot to foot. But everyone can use art supplies, right? These are perfect, Lily said with genuine enthusiasm. I love drawing. How did you know? Penny looked relieved. Lucky guess. I like drawing too, but I'm not very good at it. I bet you're better than you think, Grace said kindly. Most people are. Jennifer served cake to David and Penny, and the atmosphere in the room began to shift. What had been a sad, quiet affair suddenly had energy and conversation. David, it turned out, was easy to talk to, with a self-deprecating sense of humor and a talent for asking questions that got the twins talking about their interests. So you're into coding? He asked Grace after she mentioned her new tablet. That's impressive. I can barely figure out how to update my phone. Grace launched into an explanation of a simple game she was designing, and David listened with genuine interest, asking questions that showed he was really paying attention. Meanwhile, Penny had discovered a common interest with Lily in fantasy novels, and they were deep in discussion about their favorite series. Jennifer watched in amazement as her daughters, who had been so subdued just minutes before, came alive with excitement and engagement. After finishing their cake, Penny asked, So what games were you planning to play? I love birthday party games. The twins exchanged another glance, and Jennifer could read their thoughts. They didn't want to admit that they hadn't planned any games because they hadn't expected anyone to come. We have some board games, Grace offered. Or we could play charades? That's always fun. Charades sounds great, Penny agreed enthusiastically. I'm terrible at charades, David admitted with a laugh, but I'll give it my best shot. They cleared a space in the living room, moving the coffee table to one side to create a makeshift stage area. Jennifer found some scrap paper and a pen, and they all wrote down ideas for the charades game, folding them and placing them in an empty bowl. The game started off a bit awkwardly, with everyone being overly polite, but soon dissolved into laughter as David attempted to act out submarine by lying on the floor and making bizarre hand movements that looked nothing like an underwater vessel. "What is he doing?" Lily gasped through her laughter. "I have no idea," Grace replied, wiping tears from her eyes. "Time's up," Jennifer announced, checking her phone. "What on earth was that supposed to be?" "A submarine," David explained, getting up from the floor with an exaggerated groan. "Couldn't you tell by my periscope?" He demonstrated the motion again, which only made everyone laugh harder. "That was the worst submarine I've ever seen," Penny told her father, shaking her head in mock disappointment. "Let's see you do better, kiddo," he challenged with a grin. Penny did indeed do better, successfully getting the others to guess ballet dancer in under 30 seconds with her graceful movements. The twins took their turns as well, with Grace acting out typing on a keyboard so effectively that Penny guessed it almost immediately, and Lily doing a hilarious impression of a monkey that had everyone in stitches. When it was Jennifer's turn, she drew cooking show host and launched into an enthusiastic pantomime of chopping vegetables and exclaiming over an imaginary dish. The others called out guesses ranging from murderer to drummer before Grace finally got it right just as the timer was about to expire. "Mom, you're as bad as David," Lily teased, and Jennifer noticed how naturally her daughter used their guest's first name, as if they were already friends. After several rounds of charades, they moved on to a word association game that David suggested, which required quick thinking and led to much laughter over the strange connections people made. Penny turned out to be surprisingly good at it, making lightning-fast associations that impressed everyone. As the games continued, Jennifer noticed something remarkable happening. The disappointment that had hung over the day was completely gone, replaced by genuine joy and connection. Her daughters were smiling, not the brave, forced smiles they had worn earlier, but real, uninhibited expressions of happiness. During a brief lull while Penny was helping the twins look through their new art supplies, David moved to stand beside Jennifer. "You have amazing daughters," he said quietly. "They're so resilient and kind." "Thank you," Jennifer replied. "They've been through a lot this past year." David nodded. "Penny mentioned something about an accident." "Yes," Jennifer said, her voice dropping. "About 10 months ago, a truck ran a red light. The girls were in the back seat. They both suffered spinal cord injuries." She paused, the memory still painful despite the time that had passed. "They've been incredible through the whole thing. Braver than I could have imagined." David's expression was sympathetic but not pitying, something Jennifer appreciated more than he could know. "Kids are amazing that way," he said. "They adapt to new realities faster than adults do sometimes." "That's certainly been true for us," Jennifer agreed. "What about you and Penny?" She mentioned something about picking her up from her mom's house. David nodded. "Yeah, we're a split family. Divorced 3 years ago. Penny splits her time between her mom's place across town and my house. It's been an adjustment, but we make it work." There was something in his tone that made Jennifer think there was more to the story, but she didn't pry. Instead, she asked, "And what do you do when you're not crashing birthday parties and doing terrible submarine impressions?" That made him laugh. "I'm a high school physics teacher, if you can believe it. I spend my days trying to convince teenagers that science is actually cool." "A noble pursuit," Jennifer said with a smile. "Any success?" "Some days more than others," he admitted. "What about you? Penny mentioned you run some kind of tech company." Jennifer nodded. "Bluestream Tech. We develop security software for businesses. Not as exciting as inspiring the next generation, but it pays the bills." The week following the birthday party passed in a blur of activity for Jennifer. A major client was threatening to leave, the development team was behind schedule on their newest security feature, and her chief financial officer had chosen this moment to announce her retirement. Yet despite these professional fires that needed extinguishing, Jennifer found her thoughts repeatedly drifting to the upcoming dinner with David and Penny. On Thursday evening, she was on a video call with her leadership team when her assistant interrupted with a message that her daughters needed her immediately. Jennifer ended the call without hesitation and wheeled herself quickly to the twins' room. Heart pounding with worry, she found them not in distress, but huddled excitedly over Grace's laptop. "What's the emergency?" Jennifer asked, slightly breathless. We're trying to decide what to make for dinner tomorrow, Lily explained, not looking up from the screen. Jennifer blinked, the tension draining from her body. That's the emergency? It's important, Grace insisted. We want it to be perfect. Jennifer moved closer to see that they were browsing recipe websites. Since when do you two cook? Since now, Lily said. We want to help with the dinner. Penny said her dad loves Italian food, but we thought maybe that's too obvious. We're thinking something impressive but not trying too hard. Grace added, What do you think about these fish tacos? Jennifer looked at the recipe they were pointing to on the screen. It did look delicious, but also complicated. Have either of you ever made fish tacos before? The twins exchanged a glance. No, they admitted together. But we can learn, Lily said confidently. There are YouTube tutorials for everything. Jennifer suppressed a smile. How about we keep it a little simpler for your first cooking adventure? Maybe something that won't stress us all out. Like what? Grace asked, looking slightly disappointed. What about that pasta dish I make sometimes with the sun-dried tomatoes and spinach? It's easy but looks fancy, and you both already know you like it. The twins considered this suggestion. That could work, Lily conceded. And we could make a salad to go with it. And dessert, Grace added. We definitely need dessert. Jennifer felt a wave of affection for her daughters. Their enthusiasm for this dinner was touching, and she realized how much they had already invested in this new friendship. Dessert is a must, she agreed. How about we make that chocolate mousse you love? It's simple enough, and we can prepare it in the morning so it has time to set. This suggestion met with enthusiastic approval, and they spent the next hour planning the menu in detail, making a shopping list and discussing what time they should start cooking. Jennifer was amused by their intensity, but happy to see them so engaged and excited. Later, after the twins had gone to bed, Jennifer found herself wondering about David. She knew very little about him, just that he was a physics teacher, a single dad, and apparently terrible at charades. Yet there had been something immediately comfortable about his presence in their home, something easy and natural in their conversation. It had been a long time since Jennifer had thought about dating. After her divorce 6 years ago, she had thrown herself into building her company and raising her daughters. Then, after the accident, all her energy had been focused on helping the twins adjust to their new reality. Romance had been the furthest thing from her mind. But now, as she sat in the quiet of her living room, she allowed herself to acknowledge the spark of interest she had felt. David was kind, funny, and unpretentious, qualities she valued. And the way he had treated her daughters, with respect and genuine interest rather than awkward pity, had impressed her deeply. Don't get ahead of yourself, she murmured, shaking her head at her own thoughts. It was just a friendly dinner between neighbors, nothing more. Friday arrived and the house became a flurry of activity. Jennifer had arranged to work from home so she could help with the dinner preparations. The twins insisted on being involved in every aspect, from setting the table to helping chop vegetables for the pasta dish. Do you think we should have music playing? Lily asked as she carefully arranged napkins beside each plate. Something low-key and not too obvious, Grace suggested. Not romantic or anything, just nice background music. Jennifer bit back a smile. I think some light jazz would work. Nothing too distracting. Perfect, Lily agreed, wheeling herself to the sound system to set up a playlist. Grace was methodically polishing the silverware, a task that Jennifer usually considered unnecessary but didn't comment on today. Mom, are you going to change clothes before they arrive? She asked casually. Jennifer looked down at her casual work-from-home outfit, comfortable jeans and a simple blouse. I hadn't really thought about it. Why? The twins exchanged a look. No reason, Grace said a little too innocently. Just wondering. Jennifer narrowed her eyes suspiciously but let it drop. Let's focus on getting this food prepared. They'll be here in 2 hours. The pasta sauce was simmering nicely. The chocolate mousse was setting in the refrigerator, and the salad ingredients were washed and ready to be assembled when Jennifer's phone buzzed with a text. It was from David. Running about 15 minutes late. Parent-teacher conference ran over. Hope that's okay. Jennifer replied quickly. No problem at all. See you when you get here. She relayed this information to the twins, who immediately saw it as an opportunity. That gives you time to change. Mom, Lily said, into something nicer, Grace added. Jennifer put her hands on her hips. Okay, you two. What's going on? The twins looked at each other again, having one of their silent conversations that Jennifer could never quite decode. We just think you should look nice, Lily finally said. For the dinner party, Grace clarified quickly. Uh-huh, Jennifer said skeptically. And this has nothing to do with the fact that our guest is a single dad about my age? We didn't say anything about that, Lily pointed out. But her attempt at innocence was betrayed by the smile tugging at the corners of her mouth. Jennifer sighed, but she wasn't really annoyed. Fine, I'll change into something a little nicer. But not because you two are trying to play matchmaker, just because it's polite to make an effort when you have guests. Of course, the twins agreed solemnly. But as soon as Jennifer turned to go to her bedroom, she heard them giggling behind her. 15 minutes later, Jennifer returned wearing a simple but elegant blue dress that she normally reserved for client meetings. She had also taken a few minutes to refresh her makeup and let her hair down from its usual workday ponytail. The twins' approving smiles confirmed that she had made the right choice, though she pretended not to notice their satisfaction. At exactly 15 minutes past the originally planned time, the doorbell rang. Lily and Grace immediately straightened up in their wheelchairs, smoothing their clothes and checking each other's hair. I'll get it, Jennifer said, feeling a flutter of unexpected nervousness in her stomach. She opened the door to find David and Penny on the doorstep, both looking slightly windblown. David was carrying a bouquet of mixed flowers and a bottle of wine, while Penny held a small gift bag. Sorry we're late, David said. End-of-term parent meetings are always unpredictable. Don't worry about it, Jennifer assured him, stepping back to let them in. We're just glad you could make it. David handed her the flowers and wine. These are for you. I wasn't sure what goes with dinner, so I brought a pretty neutral white. Thank you, they're beautiful, Jennifer said, genuinely touched by the gesture. And the wine will be perfect. Penny stepped forward with her gift bag. This is for Lily and Grace, just a little something I thought they might like. Jennifer showed them into the living room where the twins were waiting. Greetings were exchanged, and Penny immediately presented her gift to the twins, who opened it to find 2 handmade friendship bracelets. I made them myself, Penny explained. The blue one is for Lily because you like drawing and blue is an artistic color, and the green one is for Grace because you like coding, and I think of coding as green for some reason. The twins were delighted with the thoughtful gifts and immediately put them on. Jennifer noticed how Penny had already distinguished between the twins, recognizing their individual interests and preferences, something that many people who had known them far longer still struggled with. As Jennifer arranged the flowers in a vase, she observed the natural, easy way that Penny interacted with her daughters. There was no awkwardness, no careful tiptoeing around their condition. She simply treated them like friends, chatting about school and books and music as if they'd known each other for years instead of days. David noticed her watching and moved to stand beside her at the kitchen counter. Penny talked about nothing but this dinner all week, he said quietly. She's never connected with anyone at school this quickly before. The feeling is mutual, Jennifer replied, equally softly. The girls have been planning this dinner with military precision. David laughed. Is that why it smells so amazing in here? Partly, Jennifer admitted. They insisted on helping with everything. They've become quite invested in this new friendship. That makes 2 of us, David said, his eyes meeting hers for a moment before he glanced away. I mean, it's nice to have new friends in the neighborhood. Jennifer felt her cheeks warm slightly. Yes, exactly. New friend in awkward silencing room. Mom, can we show Penny our new art project? 3 months had passed since the twins' birthday party, and the once empty calendar on the Chen family refrigerator was now filled with colorful notes and reminders. Museum visits with the Wilsons, movie nights, weekend picnics, and after school, study sessions had become regular fixtures in their lives. Jennifer stood in the kitchen early on a Saturday morning, sipping her coffee and looking at this visual reminder of how much their lives had changed. Today's calendar entry was circled in red. Twins' first adaptive swimming class, David driving. The sound of wheels on hardwood announced Grace's arrival in the kitchen. Morning, Mom, she said, wheeling herself to the refrigerator and pulling out a carton of orange juice. Is Lily up yet? Not yet, Jennifer replied. She was sketching late last night. Are you excited about the swimming class? Grace nodded enthusiastically. I can't wait. Penny says the instructor is really good and the pool has all these special accommodations. It had been David who'd first mentioned the adaptive swimming program at the community center where he sometimes volunteered. They have specialized lifts to help people in and out of the water, and instructors trained in working with different abilities, he had explained over dinner one night. Penny tried a class once and loved it. The twins had been immediately interested. Before the accident, they had both been strong swimmers, but they hadn't been in a pool since. The idea of returning to water, of finding a new physical activity they could enjoy, had captured their imagination. Jennifer had been supportive, but concerned about logistics. How would they transport 2 wheelchairs plus swimming equipment? How would they manage the changing rooms? Who would help the girls if they needed assistance? David had solutions for everything. I can drive us all in my van. It's already set up for wheelchair transport because of my mother. The community center has accessible changing rooms with helpers if needed, and I'm happy to be the designated driver for swimming days. Jennifer had been touched by his offer and the thoughtful way he anticipated and addressed her concerns before she even voiced them all. "Morning, everyone," Lily said, wheeling into the kitchen, her hair still tousled from sleep. "Is there coffee?" "Since when do you drink coffee?" Jennifer asked, raising an eyebrow. "Since today," Lily declared. "I need to be wide awake for swimming." Jennifer laughed and poured her daughter a small cup, adding plenty of milk. "Just don't tell your doctor I let you have caffeine." "Our secret," Lily agreed, taking a sip and making a face. "Ugh, how do you drink this stuff?" "An acquired taste," Jennifer said, amused. "Stick with juice for now." The twins chatted excitedly about the upcoming swimming class while Jennifer prepared a light breakfast. They had been different these past months, more animated, more engaged with the world. Jennifer knew that part. Of this change was simply the natural healing process, time creating distance from the trauma of the accident. But she also recognized that the Wilsons' entry into their lives had accelerated this healing in ways she hadn't expected. The doorbell rang precisely at 9 o'clock. David was punctual, as always. "I'll get it," Jennifer called, heading to the door. David stood on the doorstep, car keys in hand and a warm smile on his face. "Good morning. Ready for the big swimming adventure?" "The girls are just finishing breakfast," Jennifer replied, stepping back to let him in. "They're very excited. So is Penny. She's waiting in the van, probably bouncing with impatience by now." As David entered the house, Jennifer noticed something different about him. "You got a haircut," she observed. He ran a hand self-consciously through his now shorter hair. "Yeah, yesterday after school. Does it look okay?" "It looks great," Jennifer assured him, then felt slightly embarrassed by her quick response. "I mean, it suits you." A small smile played at the corners of his mouth. "Thanks. Oh, before I forget." He pulled a folded paper from his pocket. "The permission forms for the science camp. Penny's really hoping the twins can go." Jennifer took the papers. "They've been talking about nothing else all week. I've already cleared my schedule for those days." Over the past months, Jennifer had found herself increasingly adjusting her work commitments around family activities, something that would have been unthinkable before the accident. Her leadership team had stepped up admirably, taking on more responsibilities and allowing her to be more present for her daughters. It was a balance she was still learning to navigate, but one that felt increasingly right. In the kitchen, the twins greeted David with cheerful familiarity. "Nice haircut, Mr. Wilson," Grace commented. "Very distinguished," Lily added with an exaggerated formal tone that made everyone laugh. "Thank you for the fashion assessment," David replied good-naturedly. "Are you two ready for your swimming debut?" "Born ready," Lily declared. "Swimming bags are by the door," Jennifer said. "I packed towels, changes of clothes, and snacks for afterward." "Always prepared," David said with appreciation. "Shall we head out then? Penny's waiting in the van, and you know how patient she is." This was said with gentle sarcasm. Penny's impatience was a running joke between their families. The process of loading everyone into David's van was now a well-practiced routine. The vehicle had been modified years ago for his mother, who had used a wheelchair after a stroke. After she passed away, David had kept the van, never imagining how valuable its accessibility features would become in his life again. Penny greeted everyone with her usual enthusiasm, immediately launching into a detailed description of what they might expect at the swimming class. Jennifer sat in the front passenger seat beside David, listening to the chatter from the three girls in the back with a sense of contentment. "They sound like they've been friends forever," David commented quietly, echoing her thoughts. "I was just thinking the same thing," Jennifer replied. "It's remarkable how quickly they bonded." David nodded, keeping his eyes on the road. "Kids have a gift for that, finding their people and connecting without all the complications adults bring to relationships." There was something in his tone that made Jennifer glance at him curiously. "Speaking from experience?" He gave a short laugh. "Maybe. Let's just say dating as a single parent has its challenges." "Tell me about it," Jennifer agreed. "Though I haven't exactly been putting myself out there since the accident." "Understandable," David said. "You've had a lot on your plate." They fell into a comfortable silence, the conversation in the back seat providing a cheerful soundtrack to the drive. Jennifer found herself studying David's profile as he concentrated on the road, the slight crease between his brows when he was focused. The way his recent haircut revealed more of the shape of his face. There was something so solid and reassuring about his presence, a steadiness that had become increasingly important to her. The community center was a modern building with excellent accessibility features. As they unloaded from the van, an instructor in a bright blue shirt approached them. "You must be the Chen twins," she said warmly. "I'm Tara, your swimming instructor, and you must be Penny. I heard you've been to one of our classes before." The girls introduced themselves and Tara explained how the class would work, showing them where the accessible changing rooms were located and how the pool lift operated. "I'll wait here," Jennifer said when it was time for the girls to go change. "Me too," David agreed. "We'll be your cheering section." As the girls wheeled away, following Tara's directions, Jennifer and David found seats on a bench with a good view of the pool. "Thank you for organizing this," Jennifer said once they were settled. "And for driving, it means a lot." David waved off her thanks. "It's my pleasure. Honestly, these outings are the highlight of my week." "Mine too," Jennifer admitted. "It's been healing, I think, for all of us." They watched as the girls emerged from the changing area, all three in swimsuits, the twins in their wheelchairs with Penny walking beside them. Tara and another instructor helped get them positioned by the pool lift. "Are you nervous?" David asked, noticing Jennifer's tense posture. "A little," she confessed. "It's their first time in water since the accident. What if it brings back bad memories? What if they get scared?" David nodded, understanding. "That's natural. But they're brave kids and they're doing this together. Plus those instructors know what they're doing." Jennifer watched as Lily was the first to use the lift, the device gently lowering her into the water where Tara waited. Even from a distance, Jennifer could see her daughter's face, not fearful but alight with excitement. Grace followed soon after, and then Penny jumped in beside them, creating a splash that made them all laugh. "Look at them," David said softly. "They're in their element." It was true. Despite initial adjustments, the twins took to the water with natural grace, their upper body strength allowing them to move with surprising freedom. The weightlessness of the water seemed to liberate them, and soon they were splashing, floating, and even racing each other from one side of the sectioned area to the other, with Penny and the instructors cheering them on. Jennifer felt tears prick at her eyes. "I haven't seen them this physically free since before the accident." David's hand covered hers briefly, a gesture of understanding rather than romance. But the warmth of his touch lingered even after he politely withdrew it. "Swimming was a good call," Jennifer said, blinking away her tears and smiling. "Another good idea from David Wilson."